Welcome to Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And good morning, Keys. It is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5. The talk of the Keys and the 31st of July. Goodness gracious, where has the time gone? Well, lobster season, mini season has come and gone. And no fatalities, no major injuries. That is wonderful news for all to behold. We did have a lost diver yesterday who was recovered thanks to the sheriff's office and for all of the emergency personnel and first responders who helped make that happen. We will be speaking with Sheriff Rick Ramsey, of course, on Monday morning in his regular segment around 8:45. Right now, though, we're going to speak with Sue Woltanski. She's running for School Board District 5. Good morning, Dr. Sue Woltanski. How are you?
I'm great, Michael. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here as well. And we will refer people to your website, Woltanski for Schools, the numeral 4, schools.com. The trusted voice for our Keys kids. You are running for re-election, School Board District 5. Proven leadership focused on kids, committed to public education. So, Sue, I knew we talk about the school district pretty actively in our visits with you here on Good Morning Keys. But this is also your opportunity to talk about your campaign while you're running for re-election and some of the things that you'd like to impart about yourself on the voters, because we are, it's less than 3 weeks away. And this, your seat will be decided on the 18th. Is that right?
That is right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a nonpartisan race, and it's countywide.
Okay, very good. Well, that's important to note. It is August 18th, 2026. Early voting starts August 3rd. So, Sue, let's start off with why you're running. You have served us for how many years now?
I've been in for 2 terms,
Mm-hmm.
and with the new term limit, I can run for 1 more.
Okay, very good. 1 more. So I assume that you have unfinished business that you'd like to tend to be reelected for.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I am really proud of the direction the district is going in right now. We have a great new superintendent. We've been able to expand academic courses and career and technical courses. Our kids have access to more sports, more art, and more field trips. And this is going to be a very kind of difficult budget, few budget years in the next few years. And so I want to make sure that we not only don't lose what we've gained, but also that we are able to expand on the success.
Yes, Sue Woltanski running for re-election, School Board, Monroe County Schools for, on Good Morning Keys, it is District 5. Congratulations, by the way. Coral Shores will have a ball field, and that'll be at Founders Park. It looks like we did come to an agreement there.
Right. So we were still not able to figure out exactly where the press box should go and where the bathroom should go, but the baseball team and the coaches, their 3 top priorities were the field. So that's what we agreed to. There will be a new baseball field, new dugouts, new fencing, with rebuilt with space to be able to build the rest when we can agree on it.
Good. Okay. So proven results, you do talk about that. And first off, Superintendent Ed Tierney, it's no secret that I'm a big fan of his, but I'm not alone. I have heard nothing but glowing results of his first year as our district superintendent, but also continuing to build upon the A-rated district rating statewide with documented learning gains across the district is something that you tout as well. So that is certainly some proof in the pudding, I'd say.
Right. I mean, there's always work to do, let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
Our reading scores and our graduation rates are something we can really be proud of. We're going to need to focus more on math and science, but that's sort of the reason we do the testing, is to figure out what's going well and that we should continue doing, and what's not going well, and where we need to make changes.
Yes. So, Sue, may I ask, the whole child pillar that's on your website, adding that to the strategic plan to support healthy, engaged students. So would you like to explain what you mean by that?
Sure. When I first came on 8 years ago, they were in the beginning stages of doing a strategic plan.
Okay.
And it was going to have two pillars. One was to have a tremendous workforce, and the other one was to have great academic success.
Yes.
Those are two things that no one can disagree with.
Right.
I also was elected shortly after the Stoneman Douglas tragedy, and our job immediately was to come up with a third pillar to our strategic plan, of which everyone at the time felt safety and security had to be in there. And our superintendent believed there should be three pillars. But I was concerned that those three pillars did not describe what, when parents choose a school, what they want their schools to look like. They want their kids to have art and music and field trips and sports and all the other things outside of academics that schools offer kids. Mm-hmm. So I pushed for a third pillar, which would be, I called it the whole child, because in pediatrics, we always spoke about how you don't just treat the symptoms, you treat the whole child. Mm. And so I called it the whole child, and that was agreed to. But we also agreed that safety and security was so important that we needed a fourth pillar. So our three-legged stool became a four-legged chair, and the strategic plan was born.
Okay.
Because of that we've been able to focus on the other needs of kids, which included getting federal grants to get social workers in the schools to help the families that were really struggling after COVID, make sure that the counselors were freed up to spend time with students rather than doing paperwork and on the phone. Mm-hmm. And also, we improved transportation to field trips. We bought all those 15-passenger vehicles so that the smaller sports could travel without a school bus, and now all the sports had better transportation. Those sorts of things that really make a school the place where kids want to go, to be with others.
Mm-hmm. Sue Woltanski with us. She is school board member, District 5, running for re-election on Good Morning Keys. And you had mentioned as a pediatrician, you are a retired pediatrician. We thank you for your service in that respect. And also, you have been, you've noted that you expanded mental health services in the district, adding more counselors and social workers. Consequently, if I remember correctly, the district did win recognition, we'll put it that way, of for suicide prevention as a result, I believe.
Yeah, we were the first district in the state to become certified as a suicide prevention state. Mm-hmm. And that was personal to me, because that effort started when my daughter was in 8th grade and one of her classmates killed himself. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Nobody wanted that to ever happen again, and that started the wheels turning all the way up to the district level, and they started putting the things in place to protect kids and to recognize challenges when they arise.
Okay.
But I'll say, we didn't hire more counselors.
Okay.
We hired administrative assistants so that they could be doing the scheduling, they could be answering the phone, and the counselors could be with the kids.
Yes, ma'am. Again, it is Sue Woltanski. She's running for re-election, School Board District 5, Monroe County Schools, on Good Morning Keys. And are we still the highest starting salary for teachers within the state?
Qualified, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Because no one's done their budgets yet this year. Yes, our starting salary at this point is the highest, but we, this year, the teacher salary allocations, which used to always go to raise starting teacher salaries, went to veteran teachers. So we don't know what the other districts are going to be doing. But
Okay.
yes, that's our goal, and that will continue to be our goal.
And it continues to be a challenge, of course, too, because as we all know, even though we have succeeded in increasing teachers' salaries, we still have a ways to go to keep up with average salaries in the Monroe County. Therefore, affordable workforce housing has been an imperative as well, and you have been working towards that goal also.
Right. I've spent a lot of time in the last 4 years doing federal advocacy work, which doesn't just mean policy, but in this case, we were able to work with Carlos Jimenez's office to get a $3 million earmark, the first time a federal earmark came to the Monroe County Public Schools. And that's to allow the refurbishing of Reynolds School and Bruce Hall so that we can clear out Trumbo and build 150 units of affordable housing in a public-private partnership.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, and I wanted to, again, commend you on some of the achievements of the school board overall and your part in that as you're seeking reelection. Also want to recognize you for the statewide leadership award, earning the 2024 Florida School Board Association President's Award. So you certainly deserve recognition for that as well.
Yeah, I was real proud of that. That was following the year that I was their federal advocacy chair, and we had a very successful visit to Capitol Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was right before one of those shutdowns.
Yes.
So I think we pretty much stopped the shutdown.
Indeed. Well, there you go. Well, that's a positive as well. So, Sue, this is your opportunity to have the platform to speak directly to potential voters and your constituents as you seek reelection. What message would you like to impart upon them as we close upon the final weeks of your campaign?
So, before I was a school board member, I was a public education advocate. That is really what I am deep in my soul. I believe that all children should have access to a high quality and safe public school. And the way we get that is we focus on student needs. We make sure every classroom has a great teacher. And I spent a lot of time strengthening the relationship between the community and the schools, because when your community supports you, your schools do better. And that is Monroe's secret silver bullet. We have community support like really nobody else. And so I feel it's my job as a school board member is to share the successes, but also the challenges, and make sure that the community understands how important the schools are and how they can help them be even better. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'll continue to do if I'm honored to earn the county's support again in an election.
Very well.
So I'm hoping people will come out on August 18th and vote for school board.
Yeah. Well, sorry to interrupt. I did not mean to do that, but thank you for those words. Again, it's a nonpartisan and countywide election for the seat of School Board District 5. That will be decided August 18th. Please do get out and vote, and go to Woltanski 4 Schools, numeral 4 schools.com to learn even more about Sue, but chances are you've seen her out in our community. I do want to commend you for your commitment to this campaign and commitment to serving on the school board, and we wish you the best of luck moving forward. And I even appreciate and enjoy the picture of you on the mini energy bus there, too. That's
Wait, what?
on your it's on your website. Yeah, you're in the energy bus. I'm not sure what the context of that was, but
My last campaign, my opponent put her face on the back of the bus.
no, that's not.
You would never see my face on the back of the bus, but I would love to see my bumper sticker on the back of your car.
Got it.
You worried me for a second.
No, ma'am. Nope. I was not alluding to that whatsoever. It's an amusing picture of you and another person sitting on a mini energy bus.
Full of Key Largo School. We were at a conference and ran into each other.
Well, looks like you were having a nice time running into each other. But nonetheless, there's a lot of information for the voters on your website, Woltanski4schools.com. It is Sue Woltanski running for School Board District 5, Monroe County Schools. On Good Morning Keys are running for re-election. So thank you, Sue, for being here and taking the time to speak with us again this morning. We always appreciate your time here on Keys Talk and keeping us informed about what's happening with our school district. And we appreciate that as always. You have a wonderful day, Sue.
Thank you so much, Michael. You have a great day, too.
You do the same. Take care. It is Sue Woltanski running for re-election, School Board District 5, Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. We'll return with more of Good Morning Keys in a moment.
Good morning, dear. Breakfast almost ready?
In a minute. So did you happen to call someone about spalling repair for the house?
You know what? I knew I forgot something yesterday.
Honey, you know how important spalling repair is, especially here in the Keys. If that spalling damage gets any worse...
Don't worry. I'll call Design Center in Marathon.
When?
Today.
How about now?
Okay, dear. Now.
Design Center, the most efficient spalling contractor in the Keys, providing the fastest results. With over 40 years combined experience in spalling repair and a member of the International Concrete Repair Institute, Design Center can handle the largest jobs to small structures. They also handle quite a number of condominium and county projects. Mention this ad or the program you're listening to and receive 10% off your spalling repair. Visit DesignCenterFL.com or call 305-735-4042. Design Center, 6677 Overseas Highway Marathon. License number CGC 1523838. Remember, mention this ad or the program you're listening to and receive 10% off your spalling repair from Design Center.
This is Ollie North for 4-Star Rentals. 4-Star Rentals is the most complete rental store in the Keys. They can provide rental equipment for every do-it-yourself project from your house to your yard. Bobcats, chippers, chainsaws, and tile saws, you name it, they have it. They also deliver throughout the Keys. That's 4-Star Rentals. Model marker 4.5 on Stock Island. These guys are really good. That's 4-Star Rentals. Go see them soon.
Check us out. What Colonel Ollie North says is absolutely true. We're locally owned and operated. We offer a fleet of delivery trucks for fast all-in-one delivery. 4-Star Rentals is the oldest tool rental and party store in the Florida Keys. We make it easy to get that job done for that party or very special event. We're located at mile marker 4.5 in Key West, or just call us and we'll come to you. 4-Star Rentals, 294-7171. That's 294-7171. Remember, Colonel Ollie North never lies.
Historic Pepe's Cafe in Key West, founded in 1909, still does things the old way. Diachronic, if you will. How about fresh squeezed juices? Think how good that margarita or Greyhound will taste. Blue Point oysters shucked to order because oysters work better that way. Fresh breads and outstanding specials in an eatery that opened the same year Ole Evinrude invented the first outboard motor. And get a jump on someone's birthday and check out our retail offerings for some great gift ideas. Pepe's Cafe, Old Town Key West, of course.
This is Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And Good Morning Keys. It is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. And again, the weather forecast, pretty much the same, about a 10% chance of rain for today. That continues into the weekend. And it's going to be 92 for your high each day. Just a slight wind as we come off of lobster mini season. And we'll be talking about that with the sheriff, as mentioned on Monday. We're going to say hello to Chris Gleason. Chris is running for U.S. Senate for Florida. And good morning to you, Chris.
Good morning.
Hi there. Thanks for coming in this morning. We appreciate that. Right off the bat, you've become known as the whistleblower running for Senate. And that is a story in and of itself. But you had built forensic tools that exposed Act Blue's billion-dollar money laundering operation. That's a pretty big headline there. Let's start with, though, just a brief synopsis of your background and then what led to you running for Senate and for public office.
Sure. So I'm a tech and data guy, and I was involved with building some platforms for free speech, and I ended up getting involved with some congressional campaigns and Senate campaigns with Roger Stone back in 2022-ish, and we were working on a project in Washington State. It was for the co-founder of WebCrawler, a guy by the name of Scott Stevenson. And we had an interesting data problem. We had to determine who was a Republican, who was a Democrat, who was an NPA voter. In Washington State, they don't delineate that on the voter rolls. And what we also wanted to figure out was their propensity to vote in the primaries and who they would most likely donate money to. And as we put together some algorithms to help us determine that, we found some really crazy stuff. We had identified that there were elderly people in Washington State who were donating thousands upon thousands of individual times in an election. And so it looked a little weird. So we did some digging on that, and we found elderly people who really weren't tech savvy that were making massive numbers of donations in really large dollar amounts too. So when in the aggregate, so like you would have a retired government worker who was donating 6,000 times to the tune of about $130,000 during an election season.
That's suspect.
A little suspect.
Yeah.
So we expanded our search. I'd been working on a Senate campaign in Oklahoma, and we verified that it was, in fact, going on there. And I had been a whistleblower in Florida on big tech interference with elections via suppression of speech algorithmically and intentionally on social media platforms. And so I contacted my people at Secretary of State, and I said, hey, I think we have something really crazy here in other states. I want to see if it's going on here in Florida. And so they got me the entire state campaign finance database. And probably in about 5 minutes, we figured out that it was going on here in Florida at the state level and at the federal level here. And it just sort of expanded from there into Missouri, then Maryland. And when we were doing stuff in Maryland, James O'Keefe flew in, and he went door to door knocking. And he was talking to these elderly people who clearly weren't making these contributions. And that's when things started to gain real traction. Since then, we've built a pretty amazing system of big data and AI. And we've been tracking and mapping all of this money now since 2021, 2022. And we have everything mapped out. We have massive amounts of dark money flowing into campaigns, foreign money flowing into campaigns, corporate money flowing into campaigns through the use of straw donors. And we've been filing massive FEC complaints, criminal complaints, Office of Foreign Asset Control complaints. And so we're trying to hold people accountable. The House has had numerous hearings on this. President has issued out a presidential memorandum on Act Blue. Ken Paxton was the first AG to investigate this. Then we got 19 state attorney generals investigating. And we have some lawsuits pending, and we're going to hold these people accountable.
Chris Gleason, he is running for Senate in Florida for, he's on Good Morning Keys talking about Wow. There's a lot there to unpack, that's for sure. Let me also take a moment to thank you for your service in the U.S. military, U.S. Army. We are always indebted to people like you who have defended our freedom and continue to do so now as a whistleblower. So it was, I've got so much information up here. I don't know where to start. Smurf Hunter. Explain the term and then how that led to all this.
Sure. So the term Smurf it relates to drug cartels and their use of elderly people to move money.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a funny anecdote. So there were these little old ladies crossing the border, and they all had dyed hair, blue dyed hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so the cartel guy was pointing over. He's like, "What's up with all the Smurfs?" And they're like, those are the people that are moving the money for us." And they're like, "Oh, okay." So that's how the term Smurf came into the vernacular for money laundering.
I see. Mm-hmm. Okay. So all of this then did lead to the Whistleblower Action Act Blue and then the presidential memorandum. How do we move from that to your quest for the Senate then?
So we did a lot of investigating. We tried to get the Attorney General here in Florida to take action,
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't. She wouldn't. We brought to her we brought to the state a lot of evidence of election corruption, election malfeasance, and seeing them not do anything about it was very frustrating for us. So I decided to run for office, for standing, and to hold people accountable. And so in 2024, I ran for supervisor of elections in Pinellas County, and my race was stolen through vote by mail fraud and machine interference. And so fought it all the way to the Florida Supreme Court. And I decided that running for federal office opens up whole new areas for holding people accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And when Ashley Moody announced it, or when they appointed Ashley Moody to U.S. Senate, we felt that she was a weak candidate and started looking into her and her campaign finance, and we discovered that she was taking Chinese communist money, tainted money.
Mm. So is that what is referred to as prosecutors themselves becoming direct beneficiaries?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. And there is evidence behind all of this based on a lot of the tools you have built.
That and the government's own data and the campaign's own data. So they have to report who's sending money into them. And what we had discovered that there was a company in Tampa. It was a joint venture between an individual in Tampa and the Chinese communist controlled corporations. And they use this company called iGas as an influence operation where they essentially purchase politicians on both sides of the aisle, laundering millions and millions of dollars into political campaigns here in Florida and nationwide.
Chris Gleason is running as Republican for U.S. Senate in the state of Florida in this election cycle. He's on Good Morning Keys. Wow, it is fascinating what you have uncovered. What can this information be used for as far as providing further accountability? We've seen the presidential memorandum and some other actions by Senator Rubio and the like when he was senator. But what is the goal then, and what would you like to see happen as a result of the work you've done?
Well, it's not just me, but a lot of people all across the country would like to see some arrests. And that's what I'm running for. So I've been able to accomplish a lot, just being a guy with a laptop in an AI data center. But we're really working to hold people accountable and to get foreign money and foreign influence out of our elections, and to stop the flow of illicit funds that have been buying our politicians and depriving we the people of our consent.
Well, seeking accountability then ultimately is
Yes.
the goal. And can you accomplish that if you become a U.S. Senator?
I would say yes, because I'm not going to stop. And we're going to hold people accountable. And we're not just going to have hearings with terse words and letters. We're going to either get arrests or we're going to defund agencies and get people and we're going to make sure that President Trump's appointments get through, because none of them are getting through, and we should have a completely turned over system at this point. But all of his recess appointments have been blocked, and Ashley Moody has been very good at pro forma gaveling in and blocking that agenda.
Chris Gleason, he is running for Senate from the state of Florida. Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5. The Talk of the Keys. Act Blue, the Democratic Party's primary fundraising platform. You were the whistleblower behind all of that. Where do we stand as far as Act Blue, possible prosecution, et cetera?
Well, we've got some federal cases going on right now, and we expect, hopefully, to see Act Blue bankrupt, and along with the DNC, DSCC, and a lot of other campaigns. At this point, we have clearly demonstrated that this is willful and knowing. So I personally have filed probably several $1 billion in FEC complaints at this point, and we're going to hold them accountable. They have refused to disgorge their committees and campaigns of the illicit money, which they are required to by law. And that creates multipliers on fines. And I think we're going to really affect the money flows, the illicit money flows into these campaigns.
And Chris, when you do say we, is that your company, your backers? Who might that be?
That would be a team of us nationwide, us election integrity folks, and we've been holding people accountable. We've been filing FEC complaints. I've got a counterpart up in Wisconsin. His name is Peter Bernegger. He's been filing quite a few FEC complaints and FEC lawsuits, and I'm right there doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm sure that this has not made you popular in some circles. So has that caused you some discomfort?
Well, it's very disturbing and troubling and problematic when the Republican Party of Florida does not allow me to go and speak at Republican Executive Committee meetings. And my name is Mr. Persona non grata. His name shall not be mentioned across the state.
Well, we've been mentioning it a lot this morning. That's for sure. And just pivoting back for a second, so in your findings, was it found that Act Blue in particular was funding prosecutors who were leading the charge against Donald Trump?
Yes. Yeah. So we uncovered, actually, in my investigation into Alvin Bragg in Manhattan, that was a huge thing that we were able to determine the methodology by which they were doing, getting the money into the campaigns. They were using, and this is all because of Alvin Bragg, by the way. We ended up breaking how they were using prepaid debit cards of prepaid credit cards. And they would then layer them by buying more prepaid credit cards with the first batch. And then that led us down into the mechanisms by which they would do it with API calls and a lot of automation where, it's not a couple of bad actors running into a Publix and buying prepaid credit cards. They're doing this in automated fashion, all through computers, all using tech. And, we went from Alvin Bragg into Letitia James, Fannie Willis in Georgia. And, we've really, like I said, tracked and mapped it across the board. to include people like Mitch McConnell, John Thune, Lindsey Graham, and a whole lot of other Republicans who have not been doing the right thing.
Well, overall, you found roughly 728,000 plus fraudulent ballots. One whistleblower whose name is Chris Gleason. He's running for Senate, Republican candidate for Senate in the upcoming election. We actually have a studio audience, Key West Jess, and you're actually very informed on this topic. Is there anything I should be asking at this point?
Got it. Anything I think of, Chris brings it up without me even having to remind me, so he's on it.
Okay. Well, Chris, we have just a couple of minutes left to visit with you this time around. We do encourage people to go to voteforgleason.com. Chris indeed is seeking the Senate seat from the state of Florida. But Chris, what would you like to impart upon the listeners and potential voters in Monroe County we actually talked to people all the way from Cuba. They can't vote on up through Miami and then worldwide on the web. So you have the floor.
Well, if you want to stop the treason, you're going to have to vote for Gleason, because the overthrow of our constitutional republic via unlawful means is treason. The activities that we have seen occur with the flows of money from foreign sources into buying politicians, that's treason as well. So again, if you want to stop the treason, you want to vote for Gleason on August 18th.
Okay. Well said.
Speaking at one of the meetings.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I will be speaking in Marathon on August 9th.
Okay.
At the Garden Group.
It's actually the Garden Club in Marathon.
Okay. Middle Keys Republican Club. You can go to the Republican Party of Monroe County to find out the events, and you will see it listed there at the Garden Club. And what was the date again? It was
August 9th, Sunday.
9th. Okay. Very good. Chris Gleason is with us this morning. Again, he is running for U.S. Senate on Good Morning Keys. And thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today.
Thank you for having me come in and speak.
Absolutely. Very well. Well, we will be joining once again. We have another candidate for office coming up here momentarily. This is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys.
Are you frustrated by weight gain even though you constantly diet? Do you have low energy or always feel tired? It could be hormonal imbalance. Hormonal imbalances, especially as we age, can be the cause of depression, weight gain, mood swings, decreased libido, and many other chronic conditions. At Keys Med Spa, we have helped thousands of women and men regain their hormonal balance with BioT, bioidentical hormone optimization therapy, and the results are life-changing. Keys Med Spa BioT hormone therapy is safe, effective, painless, and affordable. And the big difference at Keys Med Spa, this is all overseen by renowned Dr. Peterson, who has had a medical practice in the Keys for over 27 years. Cool sculpting, Botox, skin treatments, BioT hormone therapy, and more. Dr. Peterson and his team are here to help you maintain your youthful glow and vitality. To see if BioT hormone therapy is right for you, call Keys Med Spa today at 305-587-9183.
If you're on vacation to relax and have fun, we have an app for that. The Greenhouse carries products that can help you reconnect with your inner child, dance with confidence, reduce stress, and we have others that'll help you relax with a good night's sleep.
Whether you're a cannabis connoisseur or just canna-curious, our team of highly trained bud tenders are here to help you reach all your vacation goals.
Just dance your way into one of our many locations and share your goals with one of our highly trained bud tenders. All product recommendations come with a money-back guarantee, no medical card needed. You just have to be 21 or older.
I tried the Greenhouse Guarantee, 100% satisfaction or your money back, and I'm still smiling.
The Greenhouse. We spell it with 3 E's so that you can't say it without smiling. If smiling is your goal today, then type the word green with 3 E's into your browser and find the Greenhouse that's closest to you.
Stop on by and say hi.
We're up and down the Florida Keys and other parts of South Florida.
Hey, Key West, Danny Hughes here from Two Friends. Really from Two Friends. So Maura and I were sitting at breakfast in the bar listening to live music at 8:30 a.m. on a Tuesday. She's about to enjoy some huevos rancheros and me shrimp and grits with fried oysters. Heart healthy. And Maura says, Dorothy, we're not in Kansas anymore. It was perfect because we didn't move here because Key West is like a lot of other places. We moved here because it isn't like any other place on earth. So meet your friends or make your friends at Two Friends, 512 Front Street in Old Town Key West, or twofriends.com.
If it's happening in the Keys, you will hear about it here. This is Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And good morning, Keys. It is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. And we're going to have a warm one again today, up around 92, 93 thereabouts for Saturday and Sunday, with about a 10% chance of rain on Saturday and Sunday. We're going to say good morning to Phil Goodman. He is Commissioner District 2, Board Chair, Florida Keys Mosquito Control District, running for re-election as well. Good morning to you, Phil.
Good morning, Michael. Good morning to your listeners.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for being here. So we have,
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So we have just a few more weeks until Election Day, and this is another race. Will this be decided then on August 18th?
Oh, yes, sir. Everything will be decided then. And,
Yes, sir.
We got just a couple more weeks, and it'll be over. So it's been a good campaign so far.
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate your dedication to serving us a number of years and for seeking re-election as well. So let's talk about your campaign, if we could, please. What would you like to impart upon the voters at this particular time, sir?
You know, I don't really get involved too much with discussing what my opponent says. I mean, he's been really doing a lot of, things against me, but that's really all he's got. But when he start criticizing mosquito control and the people there, I have to take a little bit of time and defend them. Because he's been doing a lot of things lately implying that mosquito control is not doing what we need to do to protect the environment. And it's just not the case. And so I want to take a few minutes and kind of give my perspective into some of the things that he's been saying negative about me and mosquito control. One is when he looks at the environment, I mean, there's nothing that we do that has a higher priority than protecting the environment of the Florida Keys. Mosquito control is really about a balancing, protecting public health, protecting the environment here, protecting our quality of life, and also living within the budgetary constraints. So it's always a balance, and this balance is changing every day. And if you think about it, if you did everything to protect the environment, then you wouldn't do anything for mosquito control, and you couldn't live here. Mm-hmm. And you've got the other extreme also, where we have the technology, we could really kill every mosquito in this county. But then you also probably wouldn't want to live here, and we could never do that because of all of the regulations. And these regulations are in place for a reason. There's a lot of protected lands in the Florida Keys where we're not allowed to spray, or we have very limited spraying capacity because of mainly protecting endangered species. So this is what we do, try to find this right balance so that nature can survive and also people can live here. And one of the things that I'd like to talk about is how we protect bees. Because my opponent is saying we're killing all the bees, and that's just not the case. Some of the chemicals that we use certainly will kill bees. But, it's the same analogy you could have with automobiles. Automobiles kill people, but we don't try to, outlaw automobiles. We try to come up with regulations and procedures, how both can work together. And that's what we've done with protecting bees. And, 20 years ago, we did kill a lot of bees because beekeepers put their beehives right on the road and our trucks came by. But over the years, we've really learned to work together. And we kill very few bees today because, every beekeeper that's in this county is registered with the state of Florida, and we have that registration. We communicate with them every time that we're going to be spraying in their neighborhoods so they can go out and do what they have to do to protect their beehives. Most of them have learned where and how to place their hives. We've worked with them about how we can control spraying there. In many cases, they prefer we don't spray when we go past their house, which we don't. We'll stop spraying there. But this also causes problems in the neighborhood because neighbors like for us to kill all the mosquitoes as well. So, we work together. I know there was an article in the newspaper last week from one of the larger beekeepers here in the county telling how, we've worked together with mosquito control over the years, and, he doesn't lose bees anymore because of what we do. We've all learned together how to protect this. So, when we do spray, some of the bees that are killed mostly are wild bees that are in the woods that nobody has, and there's no way to protect them. But this is usually not very many because they're also protected in the woods. So, the fact that we kill bees and hurt this environment here is just not true. We do everything we can to protect it. Another thing is dragonflies. Dragonflies is another thing that, first of all, our chemical sprays don't kill them. Our pesticides don't kill dragonflies. Our pesticides kill smaller insects than mosquitoes. And the reason you don't see many dragonflies, they have if you understand the entomology involved with dragonflies, they spend most of their lives in the water as nymphs, sometimes years. But mostly really months before they develop into adult dragonflies, and then they only live for one or 2 weeks as adults. So, and there's not that many of them. They have a very low probability of living, going through all of the long cycle underneath because when they're in the water because of they're eaten by fish. So, if you look at the best example of a really protected, balanced ecosystem is the Florida Everglades. The Everglades has got, there's no controlling any of the insects there. There's plenty of dragonflies, there's bats, there's birds, there's fish, all the predators for the mosquitoes in abundant quantities. And the mosquitoes outnumber these things trillions to one. So they're just not, we appreciate the fact that dragonflies do eat mosquitoes. They don't eat 1,000 mosquitoes like you learn on the internet or Facebook that they do. They eat about 30 a day. That's about the size of their stomach. And a lot of scientific studies have proved that. So, we appreciate these predators for mosquitoes that they do eat mosquitoes. They do, but they're not a control mechanism. No way are they able to really control the mosquito population like we have here. You have to realize here, we have mosquitoes that breed a rate of 45,000 per square foot. That's about 2 billion per acre, and we've got 100,000 acres here of breeding ground. So, and this is not just once a season. This 2 billion per acre is every 7 to 10 days. These mosquitoes coming off. So there's just no way that these predators can control them to such that we could use this rather than using chemical sprays, which is what is leading to that we should use predators rather than chemical sprays because you couldn't live here if that's the way we did. There's another area too I'd like to discuss, but I know you may want to say something.
No, please continue. We wanted to give you the opportunity to respond, so please do so.
The traps. We are in favor of using traps. We have over 100 traps, and we set traps every week in about 100 places, and we have data in those key locations all up and down the Keys that go back about 30 years. And so we use traps for determining a lot of getting information back and learning mosquito counts and what types of mosquitoes there. It's certainly not a control mechanism, and because you can't have enough traps. It's one thing to go in your backyard in an area that doesn't have any mosquitoes and set up some kind of trap and trap a few mosquitoes and think that's really helping a lot. But when you look at ballparks and golf courses and other public areas, and you look at the Upper Keys, where you've got influence of the Everglades and all these protected lands, if you had traps, you would need tens of thousands of these in the. Can you imagine tens of thousands of traps, 5-gallon buckets throughout the Florida Keys? And this still would not do much because they really don't trap that much. And every trap has to be maintained. Traps have They have you have an attractant in there. Some of them have a light. Some of them have batteries and motors to attract the insects in and to kill them. You just can't put a chemical in there to kill them and expect the insects to go into there to die. Those if you just have chemical in there to kill them, it acts as a repellent. So you're not really you can never use traps to control. We have looked at it. A lot of companies produce traps and say, this is a control mechanism, but they're not controlling mosquitoes in the billions like we have here in the Florida Keys. Maybe you could put them around your home to help a little bit, but you got to realize that mosquito control with our treatments, we control about 90% of the mosquitoes. So if anybody has traps that they're just controlling a little bit of the residual that's there. And when you talk about billions of mosquitoes, 10% can be a lot of mosquitoes. So traps help a little bit. We certainly are big in favor of traps, but they never can be control mechanism. And if you want to consult the real experts there, you can go to the American Mosquito Control Association website. They have a really good documents there on mosquito traps, and more or less it says the same thing. Like I say, they're an important tool for mosquito control, for surveillance, and for determining a lot of numbers and data. But it's not a method for control, particularly in an area like the Florida Keys where you have a tropical climate and mosquitoes are a big part of the natural habitat here. So this is what I wanted to say. Mosquito control is really doing everything we can. For us, it's a science. We didn't learn everything we learned from Facebook, which is, if you learn everything you know from Facebook about mosquito control, you get really misguided. And, my opponent's only been to one mosquito control meeting in his life, and the people that work with him have not been to any. So, you have to be careful to make statements about what mosquito control is doing when you really don't have a clue. So I wanted to bring that out, and I think this is pretty obvious, for most people at mosquito control. And, most people that run for mosquito control, they spend a year going to mosquito control meetings and really learning about the science of mosquito control, because it's not something that you can just pick up, through going through the internet and Facebook, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. We try to steer people away from Facebook. If they've got a problem with mosquitoes, give us a call, and we'll send inspectors out, and we can do something about it rather than just people fighting back and forth on Facebook. We don't do that. So I appreciate the opportunity to give me a chance to kind of correct some of this misinformation that's out there. And if people want to know any more about it, I ask them to call me. My cell phone number is 305 800 6441. So, please call me anytime, and I'll be glad to discuss it with you.
Okay. It is Phil Goodman. He's Commissioner, District 2, Board Chair, Florida Keys Mosquito Control District on Good Morning Keys. Give your cell phone number one more time. I have a different number for you, so I just wanted to make sure we get there.
8441.
Yes, sir. There you go. Yep. 600-8441. Indeed. Phil Goodman. Again, he's running for re-election for Commissioner District 2. He's our board chair, Florida Keys Mosquito Control District. Thank you very much for visiting with us again this morning, Phil, and, providing some clarification from your standpoint. There's a lot of information swirling out there, and you wanted the opportunity to provide some corrections and clarity, and we appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, and like I said, mosquito control is a real complex science, and this has been, it's a science that's evolved over decades, and a lot of these things have been tried and proven, and we've come a long way. We've come a long way in the last 20 years in mosquito control and the science of it, and mosquito control here in the Florida Keys, we're now one of the top-rated mosquito control in the world. So, somebody needs to you have to really do your homework to come by and complain about some of the things that mosquito control is doing. I don't mind people complaining about me, because that's part of the campaign, but when you start attacking the people at mosquito control that really are the scientists that work hard there, I have to try to correct it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do that, sir. And with that, is there anything else we need to mention before we let you go?
Well, yeah, well, I do have one other thing. My opponent also has been talking about genetically modified mosquitoes, and that was a failed process. I mean, this is also very wrong information. This is really a product that is really being used in many parts of the world right now, including the Marshall Islands successfully. The CDC put this in there because of the wide-ranging dengue. It's very successful in Brazil. He's successful there. And you can read all kinds of wrong information about this. Most of the information that he's citing is really old, and it's been defunct. You have to really do your homework and find out. Now, the EPA has an excellent website there that there's a webinar that they put together about the genetically modified mosquito that really explains it, and it's 100% effective as far as not releasing any females, and it's very effective in being safe. What they're working on now is they're determining whether the criteria meets for control. And for what we found, it was very good control. We released 15 million of those mosquitoes here in the Florida Keys over a 3-year period under experimental use permit. Mm-hmm. There's been no negative side effects from this, and this is very well documented. Okay. And we're waiting to hear back from the EPA to see what will happen. Now, another interesting thing is the Trump administration, the EPA, just recently approved the same genetically modified technology for screwworm fly. There'll be a plant built in Texas to use the same genetic modification for the screwworm fly, which is really a terrible thing that's happening right now coming in from Mexico. It's already into Texas, affecting the beef crop. We had the same problem here about 10 years ago, affecting the key deer. Mm-hmm. The technology that was used there, is also still used. It's also a sterile technique using radiation. But the plant that produced that mosquito in Panama is fully booked. The production is fully booked for all of the South and Central American countries. There's nothing for the U.S. So that's why the U.S. they're building another plant for radiation and building one for genetic modification. So I think you'll see that this type of technology, if you're looking to protect the environment, there's no collateral damage in insects. So far this has been proven to be very safe. No genetic transfer, like my opponent is saying. All that genetic transfer was really from background genes. Nothing from the oxytocin genes was transferred. So right now, it's not being used here in the U.S. It won't be used until the EPA approves it. Then, if it's approved, we'll get all the data, and our board will work on it with our scientists. So we'll make a decision based on the data if we want to use it. But this is so far a very well proven technology, and a lot of people were against it. But, and it's one thing to be against it when you are scared of it or you're afraid of science, you don't understand it, and you say, I don't want to use it. But if you're in an elected position like me, my job is to protect the people in this community. So I can't just take a position that I'm afraid of and I don't like it. I have to learn about it. And that's what we've been doing for 20 years. We've been studying this technology, and our board and our mosquito control, and also the American Mosquito Control Association, the Florida Mosquito Control Association, everybody is behind this, because we realize that if we don't have some new technology in the future, and this is not just in Florida and the U.S., this is worldwide, there's really no chemical technology out there right now that we see that can prevent future epidemics of some of these diseases, particularly with the Aedes aegypti mosquito, because some of the better products we use today, that mosquito is becoming resistant to. So, it's one thing to say, I don't want anything to do with it, but when it's your job to protect this community, we have to look at it a little bit different. We don't have an excuse to say, this is just too difficult for me to look at. We have to study and learn the science and make hard decisions, and that's what we've done here. Our board approved this, and also there was a referendum in the community. Don't forget this: 58% of the people in Monroe County voted in favor of this. So, it's to go against the people in this county, it's not a great thing to do. So, and just about everybody I speak with, they're in favor of it because they understand the situation that we're up against. We just don't have the luxury of a lot of new chemical products coming out. It's very expensive to go through the development process, to go through the EPA. It costs millions of dollars for a chemical company to get something new through the EPA. And as a result, not much new technology is coming in. All of our technology, chemical-wise, for pesticides comes through the agricultural part of the industry, and that's where we get our products from. And it's expensive to get approval for mosquitoes from the agricultural side. So when somebody comes up with new technologies, we have to look at it and very objectively. And this is emerging technology. I think you'll see more and more of. It's for the future, and that's what. Mosquito control, we have to be thinking about the future and be proactive. We're very proactive in everything we do, not reactive, but we have a good record of keeping this community safe.
Yes, sir.
That's what mosquito control is all about.
Okay. Phil Goodman, he is running for District 2 for Florida Keys Mosquito Control District for re-election, as well as the board chair currently of the Florida Keys Mosquito Control District as well on Good Morning Keys. Well, Phil, thank you so much for visiting with us again this morning. And Election Day is coming up on August 18th.
Thank you very much. Thanks for letting me set the record straight, at least from my perspective, Michael. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for being here. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye now. It is Phil Goodman. He is running for re-election, Board District 2, Florida Keys Mosquito Control District, and he's the current board chair. Keys Talk, 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. We now join Glenn Beck.